but can you talk about the benefits of having a life coach for people who might not have one, who might be thinking about getting one? Can you talk about just the benefits of having one?
Yeah, I think if you're anyone who wants something else, you should have a life coach. And I know that's a really broad statement to make, but a lot of times we can't get to the next place in our life because it's hard to break habits. It's hard to break habits because you don't have anyone holding you accountable. It's hard to break habits because you're around people who have similar habits. And so it's hard to leave those people behind, find a new tribe. And so that's what a life coach does, try to put you on the right track, try to get down to what you actually want, because that's hard for a lot of people to figure out as well. What do I actually want with all of the outside noise taken away, right?
Right.
And then once you discover that, help you drill that down and make it into actionable steps and just kind of partner with you in creating a life that you want.
Right. And so one thing that we talked about in one of our conversations, I think I made the comment that it's easier for me to keep appointments with others, or if somebody else is asking for something or needing something, it's much more easier to make it happen when someone else is asking for it than if it's just I'm dependent strictly on myself. And it might not be the best trait, but everybody gets motivated by different things. Or so for me, when talking to you and like you say, holding each other accountable, it's been a benefit to me. But I thought it was a great conversation that we had about that type of mindset. What are your thoughts about, some people need another person to hold them accountable, and we call it accountability partners and things of that nature. But what is your thought about that mindset?
It's really common. It's one of the most common things I see, to be honest. And I think it's it's probably the easiest part of the job. And it's just, it takes like no effort, on my part, right? Like I'm going to keep showing up if you keep showing up.
Right.
And if I'm going to show up, you're going to be like, oh man, I said I was going to do that thing. And I know that Dee's going to ask me about it. So let me go ahead and get it done so I have something to tell them. But we all need someone like that in life. But a lot of times we're not surrounded. People who want more and are pressing forward in life have a tendency to be surrounded by people who do not want more. Right. And so it's hard to find someone that's on your same wavelength. And so that's where we come from. But it's really common to prioritize like showing up for someone else instead of showing up for yourself.
Right.
And that's kind of like one of the things that I help to like get you guys thinking about. Why are you more likely to show up for someone else than yourself? What is that mentality about? And how can we get you to start thinking about your future self as a person that your present self needs to be showing up for?
That's some deep stuff right there. I remember the first time we talked about that, and I was like, man, to have that thought process and to have the discipline to keep going, thinking of your future self, like, man, that's a good way to be if you can stay focused on that.
Yeah, and if you can't, that's what I'm here for. Right?
Yes.
Because here's the thing is that what we don't understand is that where you are now is a pattern of the things that you have done your whole life. And if you want something different, you have to break those habits and those patterns. And it's not going to be easy. We've been doing those things. I'm 44. I've been thinking thoughts for 44 years, right? That landed me here. And some of them serve me and some of them really don't.
Right.
So it takes a lot of concerted effort to change the path of your life, but it's totally worth it. And if you have somebody standing there saying, hey, don't forget, we're not doing that anymore. We're doing this new thing. Oh, yeah, but don't forget, we're not doing that. We're doing this, right? Like, you need that.
I got a question, something that just came to me. Have you ever came across somebody that that probably needed a life coach, but for whatever reason is scared to take that risk of asking for help, or it made me think about that, because I know sometimes just in general help, some people don't want to reach out when they need help for whatever reason, whether they want to think that they don't trust somebody else, or they just afraid to ask for help. Have you ever came across somebody that possibly needed a life coach, but for whatever reason was afraid to actually ask for that help?
I'm going to be frank with you. I think everyone needs a life coach. I have a life coach. And I think most people are either just kind of don't believe in it, don't think it's going to work, don't want to share their business with somebody else.
There you go.
And I'm going to say this as a person of color, right? We're not very trusting. And for good reason. For good reason.
Right.
Oof, so I get that. But if you want to do something different, you're going to have to do something different. If you want to have something different, you're going to have to do something different. If you want to be something different, you have to do something different. Right. And if you want to be something that you don't see around you, you're going to have to outsource that, right? Because you can't ask your mom to tell you how to get a 700 credit score if she rocking a 530.
Facts.
And
you go outside the box.
You got to go outside. You got to call in help. You got to phone a friend. Because you ain't got nobody around you that can do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And that's really what it's about. And the other thing is that I think people are afraid to change and grow a lot of times because they know inherently that it will put them at odds with the people closest to them. The people close to you don't want to see you change.
Right.
Because it takes you away from them. It makes them see you different, or they think that you're going to see them differently. And they're invested in you staying the same many times. And I think that we know that. And some people are just so comfortable and married to their clan that they will never become the person that they want to be, which is really, really tragic to me.
It is. And I'm glad you brought up being a person of color, because man, that's a big thing in the Black community. I remember coming up in therapy, and therapists was looked, but now it's popular and more people are doing it, but still not enough. And then when I think about it, it's like, for people who are believers and believe in the Bible, it's even in the Bible. It talks about having many counselors. Many counselors. And I remember coming up, nobody ever talked about that. And so, like, I encourage people, not only therapy, but think about getting a life coach. I said at the age of 40, and I think I said this even last year, I'm going to use all the resources that are available to me